The massive bald eagle clung desperately to the narrow cliff ledge, its magnificent wing hanging awkwardly, blood-stained feathers fluttering in the mountain wind. 70 feet of empty space separated the injured national symbol from the jagged rocks below. Deep in Colorado's remote Rocky Mountain wilderness, the distressed eagle had been spotted by a hiking group earlier that morning. Its left wing appeared severely damaged, possibly from a gunshot or collision with a power line. The majestic bird was trapped on a precarious 6-inch ledge jutting from an almost vertical cliff face. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon, promising an approaching storm system that would make any rescue attempt even more dangerous. Park rangers and wildlife officials assessed the situation grimly. A helicopter rescue would create downwash that could panic the already distressed eagle, sending it plummeting to certain death. The steep terrain made approaching from above nearly impossible, while the crumbling rock face was too unstable for standard climbing equipment. The wildlife rescue team lacked the technical expertise for such an extreme extraction, and the eagle's condition was deteriorating rapidly. "I can get to it," said a quiet voice from the edge of the gathered group. Jack Wilson stepped forward, his weathered face showing the calm focus of someone accustomed to impossible situations. The former Special Forces operative, who had completed multiple high-altitude missions in Afghanistan's mountain ranges, studied the cliff with experienced eyes. Now volunteering with wildlife rescue operations, Jack had a unique connection to birds of prey that few knew about, one forged during his military service that would soon prove invaluable. Jack knelt at the cliff edge, military-grade binoculars steady in his scarred hands. Years of special operations training allowed him to methodically assess both the eagle's condition and the treacherous terrain. The bird's labored breathing and drooping posture suggested significant blood loss. Its powerful talons gripped the narrow ledge with desperate strength. Through the magnified view, Jack noticed the unmistakable glint of bone protruding slightly from the wing, a compound fracture that needed immediate attention. "What do you think?" asked Sarah, the local wildlife officer, her voice tight with concern. "The fracture's bad, but survivable with proper treatment," Jack replied without lowering the binoculars. "But we've got 3 bigger problems. That ledge is crumbling, the eagle's severely dehydrated, and that storm system is moving faster than predicted." As if confirming his assessment, a distant rumble of thunder echoed through the canyon. The park ranger's radio crackled with an updated forecast. Severe thunderstorms expected within 2 hours, bringing lightning and flash flood risks. 2 members of the wildlife team exchanged worried glances and began packing their equipment. "We'll need to call this off until the weather clears," the senior ranger announced reluctantly. "It's too dangerous now." Jack continued studying the eagle, noting how it maintained a defensive posture despite its weakened state. The massive bird, with its 8-foot wingspan and razor-sharp beak, would instinctively fight any rescue attempt. Adult bald eagles could exert over 400 pounds of pressure in their grip, enough to crush human bones. The bird's piercing eyes darted nervously at any movement, its body language showing both fear and readiness to defend itself despite its injury. For a moment, Jack's mind flashed back to the Hindu Kush Mountains, where he had once performed a high-angle extraction of a wounded teammate under enemy fire. The same calm focus settled over him now as it had then. This wasn't just any bird. It was America's national symbol, a protected species, fighting for his life. The responsibility felt strangely familiar, like a mission he couldn't abandon. "I've got about a 30-minute window to reach it before the weather turns," Jack stated with quiet certainty. "I'm going up." While the others continued debating evacuation, Jack methodically inventoried his equipment. His tactical backpack contained specialized climbing gear from his military days, reinforced ropes, carabiners rated for extreme loads, and a custom harness system. He added a compact medical kit, padded tactical gloves, and a lightweight thermal blanket. From the wildlife officer, he borrowed a thick towel and learned the proper technique for covering the eagle's head to reduce stress. Jack performed a military precise equipment check, testing each component with practiced efficiency. He mapped a zigzag approach route that would minimize stress to the unstable rock face, identifying 3 potential anchor points. Finally, he briefed the remaining ground team on communication signals and established an emergency extraction plan if the weather deteriorated suddenly. The methodical preparation was pure Special Forces protocol, adapt military precision to wilderness rescue. As Jack secured his primary anchor point, his mind briefly returned to the cliffs of Fort Bragg, where Special Forces candidates practiced high-angle rescues until the movements became instinct. Slow as smooth, smooth as fast, his instructor had drilled into them. Those same measured movements guided him now as he began his controlled descent toward the injured eagle. Just like extracting Ramirez from that mountain pass, he muttered to himself, recalling the medical evacuation that had earned him a commendation. The Army had trained him to stabilize injuries in the most hostile environments imaginable, skills he never imagined would be used to save America's national bird. In Afghanistan, Jack had once gained the trust of a local shepherd's nervous dog to help clear a compound. The principle remained the same: patience, non-threatening body language, and respect for the animal space. Control your energy. Control the situation. His animal handling instructor had emphasized during survival training. Studying the deteriorating ledge, Jack recognized a standard approach wouldn't work. The rock face was too unstable for a direct vertical descent. Instead, he devised an offset anchor system, creating a pendulum trajectory that would allow him to approach the eagle from the side rather than from above, less threatening to the bird, and distributing his weight across different sections of the cliff face. "I'm modifying the approach," he called up to Sarah. "Going to use a military traverse system with a secondary safety line." Jack engineered an improvised harness attachment that would allow him to secure the eagle while maintaining use of both hands during the ascent. From a spare compression bandage and the borrowed towel, he fashioned a restraint system that would immobilize the massive bird without restricting its breathing. 40 feet down the cliff face, Jack demonstrated the precision rope control techniques that had once allowed his team to infiltrate mountain strongholds undetected. Each movement was calculated and fluid, minimizing vibrations that might further stress the crumbling ledge or startle the injured eagle. His tactical descent incorporated the same silent movement principles used for approaching high-value targets. Slow, deliberate motions with pauses to assess. 20 feet from the eagle, Jack paused to remove his sunglasses. Knowing that eye contact would be crucial, he lowered his body position, making himself appear smaller and less threatening. When the eagle's head jerked toward him, he froze instantly, the same response that had saved him during close-quarter encounters with unpredictable threats. "Hey there, big guy," Jack spoke in a low, steady tone he'd used to calm panicked civilians during evacuations. "Just hanging out here for a minute." The eagle maintained his defensive posture, but didn't panic. A good sign. Jack remained motionless except for slow, deliberate breathing, allowing the bird to acclimate to his presence. He kept his gaze soft, avoiding the direct eye contact that predatory birds interpret as aggression. Inch by inch, Jack maneuvered along his modified traverse line, constantly redistributing his weight to test the rock's stability before committing to each move. When a small section of rock crumbled beneath his boot, he executed a perfect recovery technique, his military training converting potential disaster into a controlled adjustment. His approach combined tactical precision with wildlife management principles, maintaining awareness of wind direction to keep his scent from alarming the eagle, using the terrain's natural features for concealment, and timing his movements to coincide with the bird's natural attention shifts. Every aspect of his military background was now being repurposed for this delicate rescue mission, transforming combat skills into conservation techniques with seamless adaptation. Within arm's reach of the injured eagle, Jack faced the mission's most critical moment. Suspended beside the narrow ledge, he balanced with core muscles honed through years of military training. The massive bird, sensing his proximity, suddenly spread its uninjured wing in a defensive display. Its yellow eyes locked onto Jack with primal intensity. The display would have sent most rescuers retreating, but Jack held position, employing the same steel nerve focus that had kept him alive in combat zones. "I see you and I respect you," Jack whispered, using the calm, assured tone that had once helped him negotiate with tribal elders. Instead of reaching for the eagle, he simply maintained his position, allowing the magnificent predator to assess him. Jack kept his breathing deep and measured, a sniper's technique for remaining absolutely still in high-stress situations. Man and eagle locked eyes in a moment of profound connection. Jack slightly lowered his chin, breaking direct eye contact in a deliberate display of non-aggression. He kept his hands visible and movements minimal, communicating through body language that he represented no threat. Years of silent communication in combat situations had taught him that animals, like humans, respond to energy and intent more than words. The eagle's posture gradually shifted from aggressive defense to cautious assessment. Its piercing gaze remained fixed on Jack, but the intensity softened almost imperceptibly. The bird's breathing pattern changed slightly, a subtle sign that Jack's approach was working. Suddenly, a section of the ledge beneath the eagle crumbled. In one fluid motion born from countless high-risk extractions, Jack lunged forward, securing an anchor point with his left hand while extending his right arm to stabilize the sliding bird. For a heart-stopping moment, both rescuer and eagle hung suspended over the 70-foot drop. The bird's powerful talons instinctively gripped Jack's padded forearm, painful even to protective gear. But he remained focused, using his core strength to stabilize them both. "I've got you," Jack assured, his voice never rising despite the surge of adrenaline. With precise movements, he secured his position and carefully maneuvered the eagle away from the crumbling edge, demonstrating the extraordinary body control that had once allowed him to extract wounded teammates under fire. With the immediate danger past, Jack employed military field medicine protocols adapted for wildlife. He quickly assessed the eagle's wing, identifying the compound fracture and using specialized pressure points to minimize the bird's struggle. With practiced efficiency, he wrapped a thermal blanket around the eagle's body, creating a secure swaddle that immobilized the wings without restricting breathing, a technique modeled after how he'd once stabilized wounded soldiers for extraction. Jack maintained constant verbal communication in a low, steady tone, the same voice pattern used to keep shock victims responsive during combat evacuation. He monitored the eagle's pupils and breathing rate, applying his combat medical training to assess the bird's stress level. What happened next astonished even the wildlife experts watching from above. The massive raptor, initially combative despite its injury, gradually relaxed in Jack's secure hold. The eagle's fierce gaze still held primitive power, but something had changed. A reluctant trust had formed. As Jack carefully secured the bird for ascent, it remained surprisingly calm, its head occasionally turning to watch his movements with what appeared to be wary acceptance rather than fear. This silent understanding between warrior and warrior, one human, one avian, created a palpable connection that transcended species. With methodical precision, Jack completed the ascent, cradling the secured eagle against his chest. As he cleared the cliff edge, the waiting wildlife team burst into spontaneous applause. The eagle, though still alert, remained unusually calm within its protective wrapping, its fierce eyes occasionally meeting Jack's with what the team later described as remarkable composure. "I've never seen a wild eagle accept handling like that," Sarah whispered, approaching carefully with a specialized transport container. "Especially not an adult with those injuries." "We understood each other," Jack replied simply, gently transferring the bird to the container. His experienced hands performed a final assessment, noting improved respiration and good circulation to the damaged wing. "He's a fighter. Reminds me of some guys I served with." The eagle's injuries, while serious, were treatable. The compound fracture would require surgery, but the wildlife veterinarian confirmed Jack's field stabilization had prevented further damage and significantly reduced the bird's stress, critical factors for raptor survival in captivity. Blood tests would later reveal the eagle had indeed been shot, the bullet fragmenting through its powerful wing. As thunder rumbled closer, the team quickly loaded their precious cargo into the Wildlife Service vehicle. Jack stood silently watching, his expression revealing little of the emotion beneath. Yet those who looked closely noticed a rare softness in the former soldier's eyes, the same look his teammates had witnessed when he successfully brought wounded comrades home. Over the following weeks, Jack visited the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center regularly. The staff noticed that the eagle, typically aggressive toward human caretakers, showed markedly different behavior when Jack entered the room. The magnificent bird would track his movements with an intensity that suggested recognition. 3 months later, Jack stood on that same mountainside, this time as part of a small gathering witnessing the eagle's release back into the wild. After successful surgery and rehabilitation, the national symbol had fully recovered. As the container opened, the eagle hesitated briefly, its keen eyes scanning the assembled humans until they found Jack. For a moment, predator and rescuer acknowledged each other with a look that transcended species. Two warriors who had faced death together. With a powerful thrust, the eagle launched into the blue Colorado sky, its restored wingspan magnificent against the clouds. Jack watched silently, his weathered face revealing a rare smile as the bird soared in a perfect circle overhead before disappearing into the distance. That's why I joined the wildlife rescue team, Jack reflected, his voice thoughtful. In the military, we're trained to protect what matters most. Sometimes that purpose takes new forms in civilian life. The park ranger nodded. What you did today makes me wonder how many other veterans could find healing by using their skills this way. Jack's experience reminds us that military precision and courage can protect not just human life, but all of America's treasures, including its wildlife. Have you ever witnessed skills from one profession being perfectly applied to solve completely different challenges? Share your thoughts below. If this story of military expertise saving wildlife moved you, please hit the like button and subscribe to see more incredible rescues where human dedication changes animal lives forever.